Hello, this is Brennan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and we are here at the Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing, to run the qualifying duels for this year's Lumen 500 in the Lumen Stock Car Invitational. This is going to work a lot like the Daytona duels for the Daytona 500, but well, we're going to lay out the ground rules of how this works first. Last year, we ran a 1 hour practice session, and the top three fastest cars from that practice session will be guaranteed a spot into the race, but we did not run that practice session this year. So, in order to get into the race, you have to get in through the duels. A top 12 finishing spot will be enough. If you do not finish in the top 12, you can still claim a spot based on owners' points. We also have a past champions provisional. So we know one car that is guaranteed into the race based off that, and we also know 10 cars that are guaranteed in the race based on owner points. And 5 will be in each duel. The cars in each duel were set by owner points as well. So the odd numbered cars and owner points are in this duel, and the even number ones will be in duel number 2. Anyway, this will be a 20-lap race with 22 of the 44 entries, a LSCI record, racing here today. I am joined alongside Caleb Rose, who we last saw at Willow Springs. And Caleb, what are you expecting to happen in these duels today? Will we see the duels be kind of similar in racing, or will they be very different from each other?
The only thing I can really tell is that it's going to be hard to tell. Super speedways, they can be very unpredictable in nature and pretty much just about fall in anybody's favor. Mainly, it all just kind of comes down to luck in some cases, just being in the right place at the right time. But it's going to be interesting to see how this race develops, and like you mentioned, it's going to be interesting to see how the owner points and everything shakes out into this. And I'm sure that everyone's going to be giving it their all to try and make it into the main event because this is a big one here. I'm sure everybody wants to definitely make it into the field.
This is probably one of, if not the biggest race that we've ever run, because this is the 100th race, or the Lumen 500 will be the 100th race uh, that has ever been run on the Left Turn Network Discord, and it will be the 50th Lumen Stock Car Invitational race, as well as, of course, being the Lumen 500, the biggest race of the season already. So let's go over your starting grid for duel number 1. I'll give a quick driver intro to everybody because we have a couple new faces in this race attempting just this race potentially. Starting on pole is a name that a lot of us are familiar with. It's the 81 car of Latanya Gray, and she's actually far down in the owner points. The 81 is 27th, so that good starting spot's definitely going to help her. But of course, since this is a super speedway, qualifying doesn't matter all that much. It just matters about how you cycle. Oscar Duval, another car that might have to race his way in, can't rely on owner points that well. He's starting on the outside pole here. It's been a dismal run with NH Motorsports for Oscar Duval so far. This could be a good race here in the duels, and then in the Lumen 500 could be what he needs to turn it around. Martin Swain in the number 20. We last saw him at Atlanta. This is his second start of the season if you don't include the Clash. This 20 car has to go or go home. It's only been in one race, so it has very few owner points. And on his outside is a rookie, Sky and Jetta, in the number 15 car, driving the third checkered flag racing car. And they've got Caribbean Jack sponsorship on the car. This will be Sky's first ever attempt at making an LSCI race, and it's a tall order to get into the race today. The 15 car is another go or go home car, but she's starting in fourth, so she's already off to a good start. JB Chanot in the number 29 is locked into the show. She's last year's winner of this race, so she can just kind of chill out and relax here, you know. And then we have the 6 of Holly Martin, who is 33rd in owner points, so she definitely needs. She's technically not a go or go home, but she is basically a go or go home car. Kate Summers in the 92, 19th on owner points. She should be okay on owner points, but if I were her, I wouldn't take any chances. And the 66 car of Tyler Landry is just barely on the outside of being locked into the race. So he'll probably be fine. But if something wacky happens and all of the top 10 have to use their provisionals, then he'd be out. Jack Gino in the 65, he's one of 2 drivers eligible for the past champions provisional, and he would get it if he failed to make the top 12 in this race, and Jacob Lopez did make the top 12. Alongside him is the 70 of Andrew Kreider, who was 21st in order points. I believe he got a top 5 here last year. This is his home racetrack, as well as his team Streamline Racing's home racetrack. Then behind him is a pair of Connie Twins Motorsports cars. It's the 43 of Simon Lawrenson, who was in this race last year, also with Connie Motorsports, and actually won his duel, so he's definitely a guy to look out for. Alongside the 25 of Luana Connie, both of these cars technically are not go-or-go-home cars, as they are top 35 in owner points, but they're definitely not safe by any means. Then it's the 62 car of Vinnie Scholes. She is locked into the race. She's 7th in owner points. So Pacific Racing will have 1 car in the field at least. And the 98 car of Kevin DuPont, who is 13th in owner points. Adrian Thurston in the 52. This 52 car is the lowest down car that has started every race. It's also the only rotational car that started every race. I wonder if there's a correlation there. She's a go-or-go-home car. There's 37. 37. She's 37th in owner points. So, of course, Pearson was in this race last year, driving for McPickey Motorsports. So she definitely doesn't want to miss out here today. 39 car, Lakin Herndon. He is 15th in owner points, so he's pretty safe, but not entirely safe. Tim Berry in the 11, 3rd in owner points. He is locked into the show, and he is also he's also the winner at Michigan earlier this season, which is the last time he went on a big oval, but of course, racing at Michigan, very different from the racing here. Charlie McCarron, the points leader. Of course, obviously, being the points leader, she's locked into the race, so McCarron doesn't really have to worry about anything here. And then a very bad qualifying showing from the Motor Racing Ventures cars. The 50 of James Harvin, who has to race his way in because he has a grand total of 2 owner points from his 1 start at Michigan, and the 1 of Jacob Lopez, who is locked into the race based on the past champions provisional, but regardless, not a good showing for the Motor Racing Ventures cars, at least in this duel. And then you have Michael Harvin back here. I'm curious to see if we'll see Michael try and help James here get into the race, get into that top 12 here, because Michael, Michael is 17th in owner points, so he's a bit safer than James is, so maybe he'll provide some assistance. And rounding out the field here, or Harvin's technically the one starting last, but on the back row alongside him is the 18 of Zach Dearman. So like I mentioned before, it will be a 20-lap race, 20-lap sprint. It really won't take all that long. And of course, we'll have another one after this. So, yep, this is going to be an entertaining show for sure.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field is rolling off here at the Daytona International Speedway. Just make sure everybody gets off cleanly. This was from earlier. This is not right now. So everybody's off cleanly so far. And Caleb, if you had to pick somebody to win this first duel, who would you pick?
Like I mentioned, with it being a super speedway, it is kind of a crapshoot, but I think I'm going to go with that number 43 of Simon Lawrenson. Like you mentioned, Lawrenson was in this race last year. They won their duel, and so not to mention they actually won at Talladega, I believe, last season, was it?
Yeah, it was last season driving for Streamline Racing. And this is a Streamline Racing setup car, just like it was at Oregon and Atlanta. Latanya Gray and Oscar Duvall will lead the field to green here at Daytona, and we are racing for duel number 1. Rounding turn number 4 to complete lap number 1, it's Martin Swain in the number 20, driving for his own team. He's going to lead the first lap of the duel. LaTanya Gray is behind him in second, and they've gapped the field as they go 3 wide behind them. And already getting very racy here early in the duel. Kate Summers, as well as the 70 of Andrew Kreider, trying to gap this clump here and get out of the soup.
Now, Martin Swain fired off really good there and got linked up with Tanya Gray there, and that allowed them to pull away a little bit there from the rest of the field as they went 3 wide, and they are still 3 wide. Quite a few rows deep back there, so yeah, getting really aggressive here early on in the going so far. But up front, they're starting to kind of get calmed down just a little bit as now Kate
they're
Summers.
going 4 wide.
Oh boy,
They're going
look
4
out.
wide. They might file it down. They will. And I'm going to keep up here in the corner of your screen, I'm going to keep the score bug around the 12th position cutoff so that you know who the cutoff driver is. Right now, it's Luana Connie in the 25, and the 11 of Tim Berry is the first one out right now. So if you're a go or go home car and you're below 12th, you definitely don't want to be in that situation. And we'll have it monitored on that area of the field the entire race. Kate Summers getting pushed by Simon Lawrenson. Lawrenson's already up to 4th. He's going to try and take it 3 wide, going through the tri-oval. Summers and Gray move up the track, and that'll allow the 43 of Lawrenson to get a nose underneath. If he can get enough momentum into turn number 1, he'll take over 2nd place.
Lawrenson looking pretty quick here so far, like I said. We know Lawrenson knows how to get it done here on these super speedways. Be interesting to see how they do as this race goes on, but man, they're 3 deep throughout most of the field behind 2nd place. I've seen a lot of these cars like Holly Martin, Vinny Scholes moving their way forward on the inside. How about James and Michael Harmon? They've got linked up. They're trying to make their way through the field back there.
And we mentioned it in the pre-race that these two might help each other. You know, they are brothers, and one of them is at higher risk of missing the field than the other. And there you see James being pushed by Michael. Great set of teamwork right there. Holly Martin's up here in the top 3. This is the fastest we've seen the 6 cars since the season opener. And that's definitely good news for Holly Martin. If she can maintain that speed as the top 3 try to pull ahead, but Martin Swain's led all 4 laps so far as we're on lap number 5, approaching a quarter of the way done through the duel. Some jockeying around further back in the field. Adrian Pearson is up here. Both the Pacific cars are up here as well. They're getting linked up, but they're starting to run out of room a little bit as Tim Berry tries to force the nose underneath with the Harvin brothers behind.
And that was almost dangerous right there. Pearson tried to come down and block the 11 of Tim Berry, but there's another aggressive block by Pearson. Pearson
she
being
needs to
very
go or go
aggressive
home.
so far.
She needs to go or go home. She's making it look like it for sure. She is desperate. She's up to 2nd, making those big moves to try and make sure she stays in that top 12. And here come the Harvin brothers on the inside, trying to make it 3 wide and get underneath the 11 of Tim Berry, who doesn't really have anything to gain here except pride, I guess, for winning this race. And here they come. The Coca-Cola tandem is now in the top 5. And they started out in the very back, so that is very impressive for them. But it looks like Michael might abandon James here. James is able to get in front of him, though.
Great teamwork so far from these Motor Racing Ventures teammates. You can see Jacob Lopez still kind of hanging around there towards the back, but I wonder if he's honestly just kind of playing it safe because he knows he is pretty much guaranteed a spot in the field, so he's kind of probably just riding around at this point. But
he is guaranteed a spot in the field. Even if he doesn't make it to the top 12, he's our most recent champion, so he'll get the past champions provisional. James Harvin gonna try and pull underneath Adrian Pearson for 2nd. How about this 50 car? And we've got 3 go or go home cars in the top 3 right now. All 3 of these guys are below 35th in owner points, so you can tell that they are definitely set up for this race, and I wonder if that's why the Harvin brothers started so low, is because they were in race trim and not quali trim, which would make sense. But Michael Harvin has been pushing James Harvin this entire duel. And you know what this is reminding me of? This is reminding me of 2011, back when Brian Keselowski needed to make the field in the Daytona 500, and his brother Brad Keselowski tandem drafted with him and worked with him through the entire duel. He got a top 5 in that duel, and he made the race. But Michael's pulling alongside James now, and now it's a complete block of 3 wide for second. And Martin Swain seems to have not gotten any challenges at all in this race. That 20 car is looking very fast.
So far, definitely, but this field can kind of get regrouped and get a good run going. Don't want to get too far ahead at a super speedway like this, because the field will just swallow you up once they get back to you. How about the 39? Haven't talked about Lakin Herndon this race any at all so far, but they've now made their way up to the second position. Tyler Landry right behind them. Also got the 27 of Oscar Duvall trying to make their way up towards the front.
Herndon and Landry move up to the middle lane, and they're going to cut back down to the bottom, but Landry didn't have room. He got a bit squirrely there. He tried to clear the 27 of Duvall, but he was down there. Looking back in the field at some of our cars that might be in danger of DNQing, Sky and Jetta had a good starting spot, but has not translated that well into the run. And the Motor Racing Ventures cars, or not the Motor Racing Ventures, the Hudson Motorsports cars are both back here, including the pole sitter, Latanya Gray. So Latanya is definitely in danger of DNQing as well, and the 43 of Simon Lawrenson is as well. So things can change very fast. We saw Lawrenson up there earlier, but now he's cycled to the back. But there is still 10 more laps to get back up there, so it's definitely not over for those guys. We're just about halfway done with this thing.
I have to see how quickly they can maybe cycle to the back and maybe try and get back up front. Cycle is a pretty interesting thing to watch develop at tracks like these, so we'll have to see how it all plays out for those guys. But yeah, Martin Swain, he's just been able to hold the lead in that 20 car. Been really fast so far this duel. Wonder if he might be the favorite to potentially get the win in this one.
Martin Swain, he's an experienced veteran. He's very good at this style of racing. His one win came at Atlanta in Season 2, and he almost won the Atlanta race in Season 1 off fuel strategy. But he's not just an Atlanta merchant. He's good just about everywhere, but especially at these super speedways, we've seen him be very strong in the past. Now with his own car setup, he does have an alliance with McPicky Motorsports, which is the team he ran for in his first 2 seasons here, in that 16 car that Corbin Taps is now in. Definitely some fast cars over there at McPicky Motorsports. Definitely one of the best teams out there. So it's not that surprising that their equipment is leading here today. And he's led every lap so far ever since he got the lead off the opening lap from 3rd place. How about Luana Connie in the number 25? Running a very vibrant paint scheme here today. That's a Calypso sponsorship. That's usually on the 41 car. It is on the 41 car too. They're sponsoring both cars, but Karina's in the second duel. And Luana Connie definitely wants to make this race after missing it last year and finishing last in it in season number 1. She's had absolutely no luck when it comes to the Lumen 500. She's running up front here later in the duel, though. If she can keep that 25 up there, she'll be in a good position to make the race.
Man, things are getting really tight back there in that 3-deep pack. Pretty much about a hornet's nest as we got cars leaning against each other, nearly making contact with each other.
Did you see Latanya Gray cut off the 70 of Andrew Kreider there? That was a big, aggressive move by the 81. Of course, that's something we're used to seeing out of the 81 car. That was actually a very good move, though, because now she's going to ride that inside lane. She'll be in good position to cycle back up to the front where she started. And now it looks like the 20 might be getting a little bit of a challenge here. Lakin Herndon's got to his back bumper. Michael Harvin's behind him, so if Harvin's willing to help him out, we could see a change for the lead here, but Swain has been absolutely dominant here in this first duel. As the front 4 are now single-filed out, and Harvin's going to try and go for second himself.
Michael Harvin trying to take that second spot away. He's got help behind him from the 25, Luana Connie. Also got Holly Martin in the 6 and JB Chanot in the 29 trying to link up, but Martin's going to go to the middle. Chanot's going to go down low, and Luana Connie trying to put their nose underneath Michael Harvin. They might go 3 wide for second, but Connie just doesn't have enough momentum to make that happen.
Last time by the line, it was LaTanya Gray in the final transfer spot. And there you see Gray now in the top 10. And we see this 3-wide racing right here. That's about where the transfer spot is. So a lot of aggression going on around there, including the 52 and the 50 who are go or go home cars. Both of these Pacific cars that you see in the middle, they're either locked into the race or they're decently high enough in odor points to be able to fall back on them. So they're not too worried about it. But these guys down low absolutely are. And, if there are too many of those go or go home cars that get up there, then that might be a problem for Kate Summers in the 92. But again, she's 19th in owner points, so she should be okay. But either way, a lot of battling going on, but not a lot for the lead, as Martin Swain has done an excellent job maintaining the lead. Herndon's got to run, though. If he peeks to the inside off of 4, here he comes.
Here we go.
Harvin's not going to go with him, though. He's going to try and go up and help Swain. Now he goes down low to help Lake and Herndon, and he's kind of playing both sides right here. I wonder what Harvin's strategy is as we get 6 laps to go here in this race, and we're looking at our first lead change since the opening lap, and it's going to be Lake and Herndon in the 39 getting to the lead.
5
So
coming
here
to 4
comes
laps
Martin.
to go. It's crunch time now.
Holly Martin to the inside. They're going to go 3 for the lead. 3 wide. Holly Martin with a push from Charlie McCarran and the 52 of Adrienne Fersen. It's getting real dicey up at the front now. It's been a little bit calm up there for this duel. Oh, Lawrenson's getting turned!
Spin.
Oh no! Off the bumper of Sky and Jetta! Will we get a caution? It doesn't look like we will, but heartbreak for Simon Lawrenson as he is very likely not going to make the Lumen 500.
Oh my goodness.
And Sky and Jetta is going to lose the pack, so that's probably going to dash her chances of making the race as well. That's a heartbreaker for 2 of the part-time entries. The 43 technically wasn't go or go home, but he was the last car considered not go or go home. He's not going to make the race. Uh-oh. Oh, they're going 4 wide.
Here we go.
Oh, McCarran's getting turned
Turn.
into the field, and they're crashing. James Harvin involved, Michael Harvin involved, Jack Gino, and many other cars involved. They're going to be racing back to the caution flag. Martin Swain got the lead back with 3 laps to go. Oh boy, is there enough time for a restart? I'm not sure if there is. We'll have to see, but we've got some cars damaged, including James Harvin. And that is going to kill his chances of making the race as well. Jack Gino in the 65, JB Chanot in the 29 car, Charlie McCarran, the points leader, Luana Connie.
Man. That's a lot of good cars right there.
If they get this cleaned up fast enough, we could have a 1-lap shootout. Simon Lawrenson, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's trying to race back. Is he still on the lead lap? If he's still on the lead lap, he's not out of it yet. And that's you know who that was a big break for. That crash was a big break for the 15 of Sky and Jetta. She was out of it until that happened. Now she's going to have a chance. She's still not in yet. She needs to pass a couple more cars. But this could be a huge break for Sky and Jetta in the 15 car. Let's see if anybody has to come in here. I will put a pace minus if needed for a 2-lap caution. We'll see if we can try and get that done. There are some cars coming in and pitting for damage, so it's likely that we won't be able to do that. So this race is more than likely over.
We might be able to if they can. I have to see if they either just take it straight to the garage or try to get it back out there.
If they're still in the pits,
like Harvin's already taken his car to the garage.
Harvin's already done. Yes,
And
James Harvin already done.
Just...
Jack Gino with a stop and go. So we might get one more lap in. We'll see. We'll see if everybody lines up, and once everyone's lined up, we'll try a pace minus. It looks like they will get lined up, so we might have a 1-lap shootout. Let's see if we can get one going. It doesn't look like it.
Doesn't
Pace
look
lights
like
are
it.
not turning off. I paced minus twice, so that's it. The race is over. Martin Swain has won duel number 1. Holly Martin is second. Lakin Herndon third. Adrian Fearson and Tim Berry round out the top 5. LaTanya Gray, Jacob Lopez, Kevin DuPont, Kate Summers, Vinny Scholes, Zach Dearman, Michael Harvin will have raced in. And, well, we know the 15 of Sky and Jetta is not going to make the race. I thought this was going to be a big break for her, but it happened too late for there to be a restart. So that will take the 15 out of the race. Andrew Kreider, Oscar Duvall are going to be in trouble. Luana Connie's going to be in trouble. Simon Lawrenson's almost certainly out. So, yeah. You hate to see the race end on a crash like that, but you know, it is Daytona. That's just how it is sometimes with this kind of racing. Gino's coming back in the pits, but he's not going to get a racing spot anyway. He will make the race though, because since Lopez raced his way in, the past champions provisional will fall to Jack Gino, so the 65 will make the race. Man, tough break for Connie Motorsports. 25 and 43. Likely going to get sent home. But we'll show you a replay of the accident, and then we'll get to, I guess, the 20 car rounding turn 4 to take the checkered flag. Well, here's the accident that ended Simon Lawrence's chances of making the race, and unfortunately, it was basically his fault. He cut down on the 15 of Sky and Jetta. He was not clear. Looked like an act of desperation to get down to the inside, try and cycle up to the front. It is the closing stages of the race, so I understand why he tried the move. It just didn't work out. And it ended up hurting both him and the 15 of Sky and Jetta, as neither of them are going to end up making the race.
Well, it's getting late in the race. Everybody's getting desperate, and you're going to see here the 43 Simon Lawrenson trying to go for a gap on the inside that just wasn't there, and gets turned off of the front of the 15 of Angetta, spins through, and does a little bit of dirt tracking in the infield. Manages to get the car regrouped, though, and onto pit lane. But, yeah, like you mentioned, that it's just late in the race. Everybody's getting desperate, and Lawrenson wanted to try to get down to the bottom, maybe try and get back up to the front, since he was not sitting in a good spot in under points and would probably DNQ if he finished in the back, but fortunately it's just going to get from bad to worse for Lawrenson, and with that move, he is going to be out of the Lumen 500.
Watching from the helicopter cam, you can see the crash that ended the race. Charlie McCarron bunched up on the outside with a bunch of other cars, tried to get back down to the inside, cut off the 52 car, and wads them up on the outside lane. Both the Harvin brothers involved, Luana Connie involved, Jack Gino and JB Chanot also involved. That will take James Harvin out of the Lumen 500, and it will likely take Luana Connie out of the Lumen 500 as well. But she's technically still not out of it yet. We'll just have to see what happens in duel number 2. And then we're going to have to look at the race back for the win as well, because somehow Martin Swain ended up getting around Holly Martin and Lakin Herndon despite being on the outside of 3 wide.
Oh, just like the accident that just happened earlier on in the lap, it's getting towards the end of the race, desperation's getting high, everyone's going for as whatever real estate they can get, and it just all came crumbling down right there as McCarron and Fearson get together, resulting in McCarron getting turned right in front of the field and just taking out a lot of cars there because nobody had anywhere to go. And that's going to take out a lot of strong cars right there, as well as a lot of cars that are probably not going to make the Lumen 500 because of that, especially 50 of James Harvin. He's definitely going to be out after that because he has pretty much no owner points to his name. So that's definitely going to be a tough break for the 50 car. And then the 27 of Duvall and the 25 of Luana Connie, yeah, they're probably not sitting in the best spot either. So they probably in danger of DNQing from this as well. But tough break for everyone involved, and not the way I think we wanted to end this thing, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles here at Daytona.
Absolutely. And I mentioned watching how Martin Swain got the lead. He just used the outside with Michael Harvin. He was already in front on that first replay. I just didn't notice. So Martin Swain's car is definitely set up very well, and he'll definitely be a threat in the main race, especially after proving he can win duel number 1. On board with James Harvin in the 50. Absolutely nowhere to go for James Harvin. He just saw it happen in front of him. He's just like, hold on tight, hope that the damage isn't too bad. And unfortunately for him, it was pretty bad. And he is not going to make the Lumen 500. Welcome back here at Daytona. Just in time to see Martin Swain take the checkered flag. And he, as a go or go home car, he definitely went. He was the dominant car of the day. Only got passed with around 6 laps to go, and he ended up getting the lead back anyway through all the calamity. A couple of accidents to review that you just saw replays for, but what a crazy and hectic end to duel number 1. And we know a few of the cars that will not make the Lumen 500, including Sky and Jetta, Simon Lawrenson, James Harvin. Oscar Duval and Luana Connie are probably also not in a good spot to make it, but they're technically not out yet. It all depends on the outcome of duel number 2, which we will get to you in just a moment. We are going to have a 10-minute break here on the live broadcast, but for those of you watching on YouTube, we're just going to get straight into duel number 2 from here. Welcome back here at Daytona. We're ready for duel number 2 for the Lumen 500 in the Lumen Stock Car Invitational. Last duel was pretty tame for the most part, and then it got a bit crazy at the end, and there was a couple of accidents that took out some key cars, and we definitely know a few of the drivers that aren't going to make the race this year. But here is the duel that is going to decide everything. Duel number 2. They have a bit of a trend with the duel races to where one of them is calm and the other one is crazy. Well, with the duel that we just had in Duel 1, I'm not sure what to categorize it as. Caleb, what do you think?
Honestly, quite hard to tell. Like I said, it started out pretty calm, and then towards the end, it was just it was just absolutely calamity. But I don't know. We'll have to see if it carries over to this one or not. You know what they usually say: one's calm and the other's chaotic. But like I said, honestly, don't really know how to categorize the first one with how it went.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go down your starting lineup. It's a very interesting front row, that's for sure, because it's it's all Blake Everett Motorsports. Shauna Everett and Ashley Blake have swept the front row here for duel number 2. Now, their third car, Adrienne Fearson, was in the first duel, and she made it into the show. The 57 is 14th in owner points, but the 36 is 30th in owner points. It's been a very bad season for Ashley Blake, but Shauna Everett has been holding the fort for this team. So definitely a car that's got to try and race her way in the 36, although she's technically not a go-or-go-home car, she effectively is. So one Blake Everett Motorsports car did it. We'll see if the other one can. Row number 2, it's the 3 of Montana Sherman. He is 12th in the owner points, so he's probably locked in by now, but we won't know until we actually get the results of both duels together. Trevor Stewart in the number 32. He attempted this race last year and was inches away from making it, but he ended up failing to qualify. Of course, he was a full-time driver in Season 1 in this 32 car. Last year, he wasn't in the Tide Ride, though. This year, he's back with his old sponsor. We'll see if that maybe brings him some good luck and he can make the race this year. Row number 3, it's Corbin Taps in the 16. He's 20th in owner points. I'd say he's probably fine, but there could definitely be some stupid stuff to happen to take him out. So Corbin Taps he can't be too safe for sure. Joe Smith in the 88, he is locked into the race. He's 6th in owner points, so it's just bragging rights for him. And now, here's a couple of cars that desperately need something to go right. It's the 58 of Ryan Silva and the 45 of Rebecca Raymond. Returning after serving her one-race suspension, Lucas Forster did things when he was in the car last week at COTA. Raymond is back, but since this team bought the owner points of Double Eagle Racing after, I think, race number 6, somewhere around that, this 45 is actually 22nd in owner points because of that. But don't be fooled. This car has struggled mightily. So Becca's in the same boat as Corbin Taps, where she's probably going to make the race, but I wouldn't count on it. 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck, your Iowa winner. Despite that win, he's 26th in owner points, so he's got to be... he's definitely got to move it here in this race. 01 George Bryant, he is 16th in owner points, so he's probably okay. Then it's the 7 of Lori Jackson, who is locked into the field, and the 41 of Karina Willis-Callaway, who is locked into the field. Both of those cars are top 10 in owner points. Billy Smith in the 08, he is 34th in owner points, but that is a part-time car. He's effectively go or go home for this race. 24 Cooper Spur, last week's winner at Circuit of the Americas, but he's 24th in owner points. So again, I wouldn't call him safe. He's definitely right on that bubble there. So, I wouldn't take my chances if I were Cooper Spur. Ikea Tajima in the 99, he is 18th in owner points. We got a lot of these cars around the middle of the owner points list, grouped around the middle of the field. And then you've got Darren Walker, your second place driver in points. He's locked into the field. And now we have a bunch of go or go homers at the back of the field. The 44 of JC Kreider. This is another Connie Twins Motorsports car. They've entered 4 cars for this race, just like they did last year. But this year they only have 2 of those cars being full-time. And we saw what happened to the Connie Twins Motorsports cars in the first duel. It was not very good for them. So, they're guaranteed one of their cars is going to make it because of the 41, but there's a good chance that she's the only one that makes it. 33, Cheryl Simmons. This team sold their owner points around race 5 because they didn't need them for the next 3 races, and there were a few other teams that definitely wanted them. So they're essentially restarting at square one, but this is Double Eagle Racing, and we cannot put anything past this team. Even though they struggled at COTA, we've seen them be strong. They've got Cheryl Simmons back in that 33 car once again. And I expect this car to be fast, but, if something goes wrong, if they don't finish in the top 12, they're definitely going to be out of the race. So, crucial race for Double Eagle Racing here. JT Boyd in the 77, he's locked into the show. He's about the only car that doesn't need to absolutely move it here in the final 3 rows. 5 car, Joanna Clark. This car attempted its first ever race back in season number 2 here in this race. Did not qualify with Stephen Jones. They've got Joanna Clark behind the wheel this time, so maybe they'll have some better luck this year. And rounding out the field, it's the 28 of Adrian Wheeler, who is 28th in points, matching his car number, and in this case, that's definitely not a good thing. Wheeler, technically not a go-or-go-homer, but treat him like he is. And rounding out the field is the 2 car of Tamarin Bellinger. This is the other Martin Swain racing car. We saw how fast Martin Swain was in the first duel. He dominated and won. But Bellinger is going to have to go from last to first if they want a Martin Swain race team sweep. And of course, they are a go or go home car, much like Martin Swain was. But they got a fancy new livery on this on this car, hoping to get the sponsor auto park it into the race. So once again, 20 laps here at Daytona, just like the first one. But that doesn't mean it'll play out exactly like the first one. Like the old legend goes, one is calm, one is crazy. But again, we're not sure how this one's going to go. Maybe the first half will be crazy and the second half will be calm? Is that what this means? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's time to go racing.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off on the backstretch once again, getting ready for the second of the duels here for the Lumen 500. Caleb, you picked Simon Lawrenson to win the first duel, and it didn't really end all that well. Do you think who do you think's going to win this second duel?
Well, hopefully this definitely doesn't play out, or at least my pick doesn't play out like the first duel. But is it favoritism? It absolutely is. But I gotta go with my man, the 16 and Corbin Taps, to get it done. We know that he knows how to get it done here at Daytona. He won the amateur series race here season ago. I think he might potentially be sitting in a good spot to potentially get it done here tonight.
Bold move to pick your own driver when you're on jinxing watch, that's for sure. But we'll see. Corbin Taps is starting in 5th, so that's a good start for him. We'll see if he can stay up there. Pace car is going to roll off, and it will be the Blake Everett cars leading them back to the green. We are Green Flag Racing here in duel number 2. Coming out of turn number 4, it's still the Blake Everett Motorsports cars 1 and 2. Ryan Silva's already made some aggressive moves to try and get up towards the front. He is in the 3rd spot after starting back in about 7th place. We saw him go 3 wide 2 separate times there on the first lap, and now he's trying to do it again to try and get to the lead. He's going to get there.
I mentioned pre-race that maybe the other duel was calm at first and then chaotic once we got to a few laps to go. We're 3 wide for the race lead right now, and as Ryan Silva's going to clear, but they're 3 deep behind the 58 of Ryan Silva. This duel is definitely starting off chaotic, and they're going to go right back 3 wide for the race lead once again.
Saw Silva block all 3 lanes, but he got stuck up on the top lane, and the top lane is absolutely disappearing up front. Kobe Hollenbeck has appeared up towards the front, and the 79 car is going to lead lap number 2. He blocks all 3 lanes as well. The entire pack is 3 wide, and a lot of jostling for position here early in the race. And look at this, Cheryl Simmons in the 33, who started up towards the rear, is already up into the top 3. It's barely been 2 laps. And that's how quickly things can change here. And you know these go or go home cars are going to make some desperate moves. We saw them make desperate moves in duel number 1 that didn't work out, and a few that did. So we'll see what these go or go home cars like the 33 and the 5, as well as the 44 and 2 down there on the inside lane. We'll see what they have for these other guys here, as Simmons is already making a move up to 2nd.
You can never count out this number 33 team, Double Eagle Racing. I don't know what it's been about that team, but they've made fast cars week in and week out. And, honestly, I'd say if they didn't sell their other points, they would probably be just about guarantee a spot into this race. They've just been so fast so far this season, as now Cheryl Simmons going for the race lead here on lap number 4, trying to get by Kobe Hollenbeck. Number 5, that is Joanna Clark, trying to get to the back of the 33, try and form a little bit of a go or go home tandem on the inside, but Adrian Wheeler is going to make it 3 wide for 3rd back there.
They're getting really spicy in the back there. There was a point there about a lap ago where it looked like Montana Sherman was about to turn himself across George Bryant, but they kept it straight. They're still 3 wide throughout the entire pack, and they keep shifting lanes when they go through the corners, and it makes me nervous. But Cheryl Simmons in the 33. What is there not to say that hasn't already been said about Double Eagle Racing? They are operating off of probably the smallest budget in the entire series. I mean, they're running Dodges at road courses. They're the only team still running Dodges just because they've only got 2 cars. So it's incredible what this team has been able to do with so limited resources and still consistently be up in the front. And here you see them once again. This time they've actually got the Ford out this time. That's their super speedway car. But Double Eagle Racing has been very impressive, basically ever since they joined. So it's been interesting to watch them for sure. Here comes Joanna Clark, though, going to try and make a move 3 wide to the inside of the 33. The 33 will lead that lap. But here comes Clark on the inside, trying to get that Action Racing TRD car into the field.
Saw off at turn 4 there. Adrian Wheeler got really swirly there. Maybe got Pretty bad push there by the 77 of JT Boyd. He's still swirly, as he looked like he might have tried to throw a block there on Kobe Hollenbeck. Wheeler being very aggressive here so far. Right now the back one for the 5, but they're going 3 wide once again, as here comes JT Boyd, the 77, trying to take the race lead away. He's got Billy Smith in the 08 right behind him, and Cheryl Simmons has no help on the outside for quite a ways back, but it looks like, as soon as I say that, Hollenbeck and Wheeler are going to go up to help the number 33, and that is going to leave the 5 of Joanna Clark in kind of a sucker hole there in the middle.
JT Boyd, this 77 car, definitely another car to watch here, because this car was the dominant car last year when Holly Martin was driving it. I think they led 22 of the 50 laps in the main event, but they came up 1 spot short of the win. Definitely looking for redemption here with JT Boyd in the 77. And Boyd and Simmons are going side by side. Simmons trying to get the outside to work with no help whatsoever. Now they're both going to slide down the track. And Boyd still trying to get by the 33 of Simmons. Darren Walker in the 8 car, who has probably been the championship favorite this season. He'd probably still be the points leader had it not been for that engine failure from the lead at Iowa. He's going to try and make it 3 wide here. And he is going to make it 3 wide here for the lead. And let's check in on our go or go home battle. The 41 is in the last transfer spot right now, but she's a locked-in car. Kobe Hollenbeck is currently outside looking in. You've got the 24 of Cooper Spur, Ashley Blake, Ryan Silva, and Rebecca Raymond as drivers that could potentially be in danger if they finish where they're running right now. But look on the inside, it's George Bryan with help from a fellow Toyota and Trevor Stewart.
I've got George Bryan there in the 01. Good push there from Trevor Stewart, the fellow Toyota teammate. And, well, 2 established veterans, 2 semi-retired drivers, now trying to go for the race lead. And we are 3 deep, pretty much throughout the whole field. And, oh, no, don't take it 4 wide for the race lead. Don't do that. They are going to do that.
Oh,
Stewart
no.
looking to the inside.
Stewart's peeking.
Oh.
Bryan just slipped in front of him. Oh,
wow.
my goodness. That was
close.
That was almost disastrous. That would have been the whole field if they had wrecked right there. But they kept it going. And Darren Walker, with the help on the outside lane, is going to try and clear, but they're still 3 wide for the lead as Trevor Stewart tries to make the inside work with Karina Willis-Callaway in the 41. Oh my goodness, we have seen some crazy racing so far, and we're not even halfway through this thing. Look at this, 3 wide, just about a dead heat between them. Walker got a shove on the outside just before they got to the line. But they are absolutely gridlocked right now. It's looking like I-95 out here.
Oh boy, good push there to the 32 of Trevor Stewart. It looks like he is going to clear for that race lead, and he's going to try and block all 3 lanes. But we'll have to see. And he's going to stay up front. Not enough of a run from behind. But yeah, the whole field is 3 deep right now behind the 32 of Trevor Stewart. And it's going to be really hard to hold this race lead because he's got to hold off all 3 lanes of traffic.
Oh,
and George Bryan gets turned!
Oh my goodness gracious, a lot of cars up into the wall. Cheryl Simmons is one of them. Cooper Spur, I think, has damage. Joanna Clark is involved. And that is a few drivers with damage, but honestly, it doesn't look like many of them got damage, and the caution is out on lap number 11. Oh my goodness, Bryan got turned in front of the field, and considering how many cars were behind, I am surprised that there are actually not that many cars with damage. I think I only see 2 cars with significant damage, and it's Bryan and the 33 of Cheryl Simmons. But either way, that wreck is big for the 33 of Simmons. That is likely going to leave her out of the Lumen 500. What a shame for Double Eagle Racing, just as we were hyping them up. And that's a tough break for them for sure. It looked like there might have been a couple of cars that also got minor damage in this, but they might be able to fix it. Well, Trevor Stewart got the lead in the race back to the line. There wasn't much of a race back to the line. They crashed and the caution came out just as they crossed it, so, or just before they crossed it rather, but Oh boy. Multi-car pileup in the tri-oval. That could have been a lot bigger than it ended up being.
I think we know which one might be the chaotic one now.
Oh yeah. Well, we still got 9 laps to go after this. But yeah, we'll take you to the replay of that accident, and we'll be back with the restart here shortly. Well, here we have it. 3 wide, almost 4 wide. Brian kind of runs out of room as the 41 came up into his lane. And he comes up into the 8 of Walker, the 77, 99, 45, all pinball off of it. Cheryl Simmons gets involved. The 08 and the 5, not that much damage for them. Great job to get on the brakes for these guys behind. So a lot of these cars that either got caught up in it or almost caught up in it should be able to go. But the 01 of George Bryan and the 33 of Cheryl Simmons, definitely the ones affected most by that. And I don't imagine that they'll be on pace if they're able to continue. I think the damage is light enough to where they'll continue, but I don't think they'll be up to speed for sure. So that's probably it for Cheryl Simmons' chances of making the race.
You see it here, the 01 of George Bryan, almost on the brink of 4 wide, comes up into the 8 of Darren Walker and sets this whole ordeal off. And he goes around right in front of the field. Surprised it didn't collect more cars than that. Well, a lot of cars were collected, but I'm surprised that not a lot of drivers got significant damage from that. But pretty heavy damage on the 01 of George Bryan. And also quite a bit of damage to the 33 of Cheryl Simmons as well. That's going to be a very tough break for that Double Eagle Racing team after we talked so highly about them as well. Probably going to really affect the aerodynamics of that 33 and Simmons. Race isn't over just yet, but it's at this point it'll probably take a miracle for that Double Eagle Racing team to make the Lumen 500. So really, really tough break for that team and Cheryl Simmons, and just absolutely no fault of their own either.
Yeah, a lot like what happened to James Harvin and Sky and Jetta in the first duel. Something kind of out of their control ended up taking them out and ruining their chances of making the race. And it didn't take out in Jetta, but it single-handedly caused her to miss the race. So yeah, it's going to be a tough break for sure. But we'll get you back with the restart here around halfway through the duel. We still got another half of racing left. Welcome back here at Daytona. Only a 2-lap caution. Surprisingly, nobody came into the pits. And so obviously no one's out of the race either. But now we have an interesting situation where those damaged cars, they didn't even come in pits. So George Bryan and Cheryl Simmons are still out there. And we have a bunch of cars that are low in owner points that are going to be starting right behind them on the restart. So they're going to have to try and find a way around the slower traffic as soon as possible, or else they lose the pack and lose out on a chance to make the race. Pace car's going to pull in. Trevor Stewart's still the leader. Karina Willis-Callaway, Joe Smith, Ryan Silva, JT Boyd, your top 5. Boyd actually has some side damage along with the 45 of Rebecca Raymond, so you got to watch out for them as well. As we take the green flag, oh boy, Ryan Silva's already back to making big moves. He's going to take it 3 wide for second underneath the 88 of Joe Smith and the 41 of Karina Willis-Callaway.
Oh boy, I don't know if this is what Trevor Stewart wants to see, because that's going to hold everybody behind them up. That's going to allow the 32 to pull away, and once these guys get grouped up, that is going to be a huge head of steam for everybody behind the 32. Taking a look back here, yeah, the 01 and the 33, they don't look too bad, but it still doesn't look like they're quite up to par with everybody else, as you're seeing Billy Smith, Cooper Spur, and Joanna Clark trying to get by them on the inside. So it looks like they're actually going to stay with the pack. So that'll be good for them, but they're going side by side, and that's going to block Hollenbeck and Wheeler.
That is bad news for them. They're 26th and 28th in owner points. They've got to get by these cars or else they might lose the draft, and that will be disastrous for the 79 and the 28. But it looks like they're going to shove the 33. What? They're going to shove the 33 up into the pack through sheer willpower. And it looks like they might be fine after all.
They might still have a chance.
Oh,
Wow,
the
okay.
44 almost turned herself. Goodness gracious.
Oh,
Hold on to it, JC. No, don't try it again. Okay, no, she's fine. She got clear this time. She's up in the top 10. She's the only car in the field that has 0 owner points. This car has never started a race before. And JC herself, she's only run 1 race. She attempted to run this race last year and didn't qualify, but she made the race at Homestead in the season finale last year. This would only be her 2nd start if she makes it. So, a lot riding on that for Joanna Clark, or not Joanna Clark, JC Kreider in the 44 car. Top 3 pulled away: Trevor Stewart, Corbin Taps in the 16, and the 41 of Karina Willis-Callaway. And looking further back, it looks like JT Boyd is off the pace. That side damage definitely doing a number on him. George Bryan as well, but these two are probably fine. We know the 77's in the race. The 01 is probably in the race, so they're probably going to be okay in terms of making the race. So all of our Go or Go Home cars are still in it. Here comes Taps underneath Trevor Stewart. And we've got 5 laps to go here in this duel. Can Corbin Taps get the win here in duel number 2? He's going to have the help from the 41 and the 24 of Cooper Spur, who's just shown up all of a sudden.
He was almost involved in that wreck. He might have even been involved in that wreck. Now he's up here in the top 5, and he's going for the race win. But Corbin Taps clears for the race lead, and now we've got some Connie Twins Motorsports cars trying to line up on the inside. And the Blake Everett Motorsports cars.
We got a bunch of Fords on the inside, 2 pairs of teammates. And the 41's going to get pushed up the middle. JC Kreider, she doesn't want to just make the race. She wants to win the duel. This is the 4th Connie Twins Motorsports car. This is the car that won the 2nd duel last season with Simon Lawrenson. They've got a chance to do it again. But Corbin Taps, he's getting out there, but that's not what you want, because then they'll get a run on you if they group up. But they are once again gridlocked. Trevor Stewart with a big push on the outside lane, and he's going to clear for 2nd. How about that 32 car? We have not seen that much of Trevor Stewart since season 1, and we can safely say he's still got some of it left. And here he comes. He's going to try and make a move on Taps. Taps can't clear him.
Here we go.
Side by side. 3 laps to go.
Making their way through the field. Cheryl Simmons in the 33, now up into the top 12.
Can you believe this? She literally crashed in this race. Nothing can stop this 33 car. Can she pull it off again? This will be an incredible drive for Cheryl Simmons if she can make it into the field. Here comes Adrian Wheeler and Joanna Clark on the inside lane. Taps is going to try and make a move on Stewart for the lead as Wheeler tries to break into the top 5.
Where on earth did Wheeler come from? We thought he was out of it.
It looked like he was going to be out of it for a while there. Stewart tried to get that run on the outside, but he gets blocked by the 16 of Taps. And now here comes Everett and Wheeler on the inside. Wheeler trying to peek to make it 3 wide, but Simmons is able to clear. 2 laps to go here in duel number 2, and we've got a shootout here at the end. I have no idea who's going to win this race. I have no idea who's going to make the main event.
Side by side for 2nd. Neither of them really have the help because they're 3 wide behind. Simmons looked for a peek there 4 wide, but it's going to fall in back behind Joanna Clark. But up front, Corbin Taps trying to block both Trevor Stewart and the 57 of Shauna Everett. And he's coming off a turn 4 to take the white flag. Coming to 1 to go here in duel number 2.
White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Corbin Taps. Can he win
put
duel
in the
number
middle.
2? They got a bit dicey right there. Simmons is up in the middle. The 41 is the transfer right now. The 2 car Tamron Bellinger trying to get in. 13th last time by. There you see Bellinger in the 2 car underneath the 44 and the 36, trying to make one last run at a transfer spot. But up front, it's Corbin Taps holding on right now. Stewart's going to get a push from a fellow Toyota in Clark. A lot of Toyotas up here at the front, but it's a Chevy leading them all. And they're going to battle for 2nd, so it looks like Corbin Taps, if he can hold them off, is going to win duel number 1, and Caleb's going to guess the winner correctly. Here we come, out of turn number 4. Corbin Taps wins duel number 1 and across the line to make the race. We'll see as it updates. It looks like the 2 car and the 33 both managed to make the show.
Simmons makes it. Wow.
But it's going to be heartbreak for JC Kreider as she fell
Oh,
back to
man.
15th. And that will not be good enough to make the race. Ryan Silva in 17th will probably not make it either. Cooper Spur, it'll be close for him in the 24 car. Wow. How about this? A lot of the go-or-go-homers make it in this time. Cheryl Simmons is in the race. Joanna Clark's in the race. Billy Smith is in the race. Cheryl Simmons, dented front end and all. 9th place. That's going to put her in the show. Tamarin Bellinger in the 2, who was in the back the whole race, managed to just sneak into the top 10 right at the end. Oh, man. That was an entertaining duel for sure. I'd say that one was even better than the last one.
I think I'd say that too.
That was incredible. Corbin Taps winning duel number 2. Trevor Stewart, Shauna Everett, Joanna Clark, Kobe Hollenbeck, the top 5. And we'll have to see who ends up making the race by combining the results here. And we'll have an update for you right at the end. We'll show the roster of who made the race in just a moment to cap off our broadcast. But yeah, what an exciting duel for sure. And both duels were pretty exciting, especially towards the end. And, well, Caleb, what do you think this is? Do you think this is a good preview for this year's Lumen 500?
I'd say so. I'd say this is a pretty good preview of what we can expect from the big race. I mean, this is just a precursor race. This is just to make it into the race. So I can hardly imagine how things are going to go in the actual race itself, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really excited to see how the main event goes. But yeah, 2 very, very entertaining races we had here tonight. And yeah, like I said, really looking forward to see how things go from here.
Absolutely. And I got the replay and I got the exports, so we'll join you here at the end of the broadcast to reveal the lineup for the 2024 Lumen 500. Well, here you have it. Your lineup for the Lumen 500 will consist of these 35 drivers. The number 1 of Jacob Lopez, the number 2 of Tamarin Bellinger, the number 3 of Montana Sherman, the number 5 of Joanna Clark, the number 6 of Holly Martin, the number 7 of Lori Jackson, the number 8 of Darren Walker, the number 01 of George Bryan, the number 08 of Billy Smith, the number 11 of Tim Berry, the number 16 of Corbin Taps, the number 18 of Zach Dearman, the number 20 of Martin Swain, the 28 of Adrian Wheeler, the 29 of JB Chanot, the 32 of Trevor Stewart, the 33 of Cheryl Simmons, the 36 of Ashley Blake, the 39 of Laken Herndon, the 41 of Karina Willis Calloway, the 52 of Adrian Fearson, the 55 of Michael Harvin, the 57 of Shauna Everett, the 62 of Vinny Scholes, the 65 of Jack Gino, who got in based off the past champions provisional, Tyler Landry in the 66, Andrew Kreider in the 70, who got the last owner point spot, JT Boyd in the 77, Kobe Hollenbeck in the 79, the 81 of Latanya Gray, the 85 of Charlie McCarron, the 88 of Joe Smith, the 92 of Kate Summers, the 98 of Kevin DuPont, and finally, the 99 of Akia Tajima. Which means that your DNQs from this race, your 9 DNQs, will be Sky and Jetta, Cooper Spur, Luana Connie, Oscar Duvall, Simon Lawrenson, JC Kreider, Rebecca Raymond, James Harvin, and Ryan Silva. Those 9 drivers will be headed home. And that is a tough break for Connie Twins Motorsports in particular, because that is 3 of their 4 cars that will fail to make the race. The only one that got in was the one that was guaranteed in on owner points. Well, Caleb, do you have some final thoughts on the duels, on who made it in, on who didn't, and on what we should expect to see here in the main event in just a couple of days?
A lot of very interesting names that will unfortunately be going home for the Lumen 500. Like you mentioned, Cooper Spur, last week's winner, unfortunately not making it. 3 of the 4 Connie Twins Motorsports cars. That's a really tough break for them. And then Rebecca Raymond in the 45, who actually just bought the owner points of the 33 Double Eagle Racing team. They failed to make the race, and well, Double Eagle Racing ended up making in, so that's a little bit ironic there, but yeah, this is going to be a very fun race to watch play out. A lot of interesting names made it in as well. This is going to be a fun race either way you slice it, no doubt about that. But yeah, that was some really fun duels, and like I said, can't wait for the main event.
The main event is going to be a special one, that's for sure. The 50th LSCI race, the 100th Left Turn Network race, and of course, being the biggest race of the season, the Lumen 500. Well, that's going to wrap it up here for today. Congratulations to Martin Swain in the 20 for winning duel number 1, and Corbin Taps in the 16 for winning duel number 2. And congratulations to all the drivers that had to race their way in and managed to do it here in the duels. There's quite a few of them, and I'm sure they're jumping up and down, thrilled about that. On behalf of myself and Caleb Rose here at the Left Turn Network, this is Brendan Wilmington signing out.